as you watch this second of two semifinals. First ball in the air and a footfall. Billie Jean, to set the stage, I think we should say, first of all, that Chrissy is playing very close to home, but on a surface that, not her favorite surface, but certainly not a bad one for her, is it?
She likes it because the ball bounces quite high on this court. Of course, you see Hana starting over. It's pretty windy. We'll have to ask Fred in a couple of moments.
It is more than just a little windy, isn't it, down there, Fred? Fred Stolling.
Very gusty down here, Cliff, and we've had wind. I think it's the windiest day we've had throughout the tournament. This has got to affect the ball toss. Hana Mandlikova really not too comfortable on the second serve in windy conditions.
Mandlikova beat Helen Khaleesi of Canada, Federica Bonsignori of Italy, Parkamenko of the Soviet Union, and Bettina Bungi. And then yesterday over Helena Sukova of Czechoslovakia. Evert Lloyd could not have had an easier path here. She beat Jennifer Mandel of South Africa 11-1. Then she beat Akiko Kijimuto of Japan 6-1, 6-2. Nelson Dunbar did not win a game from her, and Stephanie Rehi 6-3, 6-2. Last night, Evert Lloyd over Coda Kilsch 6-2, 7-5. That was her route to the semi-final.
See how much the wind affected that return of Chrissy's. It just went all over the court.
Break point.
Yes.
What do you do if you're in Mandlikova's shoes, Billie Jean? You can stay back, I suppose, if you want to, but you'd come second, wouldn't you, against Chrissy? You've got to come in, don't you?
She will come in. I've always felt Hana has a great first serve, and her second serve can be very suspect. Fred already alluded to it earlier, and especially in this wind, it makes it even doubly difficult.
First time I've actually had a point called before it happened. Looking for that double fault. It was a single.
Yes.
First one was a left.
First one was a left.
Hana has worked on that second serve through the years. I know she used to ask me, Billy, what do I do on second serve? I always thought she should swing more left to right to get more topspin on the ball. Whew.
Nothing wrong with that first serve. It's game point. First game of the match. Second of two women's singles semi-final matches tomorrow afternoon. In the men's, Yvonne Lendl and Jimmy Connors, a replay of last year's semi-final. Australian Open champ Hana Mandlikova, first game of the match. 1 game to love, she leads against Evert Lloyd. For the match against Hana Mandlikova, Hana, of course, won in Australia He's the only person who can win the Grand Slam of women's tennis in '87.
There's Coach Betty Stove from Holland. Won some Wimbledon doubles titles, U.S. Open doubles, French. Runner-up in singles in 1977 to Virginia Wade at Wimbledon.
You say she's from Holland, Billie Jean. It's tough to think of her in those terms, though, because I don't think she spends more than a couple of weeks there. Yeah, no, does she?
She tries to get back both because Hana's from Europe, too. Likes to get back to Europe, but you're right.
She's on the road a lot, that's for sure, because we see her everywhere.
They certainly are. Betty's been Hana's coach the last 7 years.
30 love.
There's Betty writing diligently. She writes every point, makes comment about Hana's technique as well as her mental state.
Billie Jean, I said it from Australia, and I'll say it again. And that is that Hana Mandlikova played as good a match as she could play. Very intelligent stuff from Melbourne when she beat Martina in the final.
I saw that match. I agree. She played well under pressure. She didn't try to do too much.
Just chipping the return and serve low, waiting for the opportunities. Sure, Martina never played her best, but Hana played awfully well. Game point, Evert Lloyd.
Evert Lloyd running back and forth, what she does best, running laterally. Watch her get set for this, and this powders it down the line. Hana couldn't tell where that one was going, Cliff.
Hana was looking for the lob. She sort of hesitated there and thought she'd hit a pretty good volley. And Chrissy, speed of foot, got her over there. Racket ready, good preparation, great shot.
No, it's one of those shots, the last one you two were talking about, that even if he had anticipated where it was going, it would have been kind of tough to do anything about it because it landed on the line.
Chris was looking at that spectator that was yelling out and said, "Zip your lips." That's what she was telling him. Crowds into this tonight. It's nice to see Chris go to net when she gets the opportunity. She's been trying to work on that the last few years. It's important that she starts early in this match to let Hana know that she is going to be up there.
That's another foot fault there on that serve. That's one from both ends of the court for Mandlikova.
When she's accurate, she's unbelievable. Passing shots now that you've seen. That one was just extraordinary. Cross-court again on the line.
Just remember, she's practiced here a few thousand years. There's that take a look at Hana's feet. Let's take another look at Hana's feet. Look how close her left foot is to the baseline. She comes back with it. Ooh, that right foot comes through, and she jumps. It's all right, that last part, because she hits the ball before she lands. But she's so close to the line when she starts. And both, it looks like either her left or right. Maybe Fred can comment, because he's right down there. Is it her left foot fiery or front foot, or is the one that she brings through?
I think it's the back foot as it comes through, Billie Jean.
Break point. Oh, that's a dangerous play. You make that drop shot, you make it count. You hit it too hard, you're in a lot of trouble. She's in trouble. 2-1 in the first set for Evert Lloyd. Evert Lloyd with the serve break. First set, second women's singles semifinals. This match to play Steffi Graf. Yannick Noah will play Machia in the men's singles semifinals. That's in one bracket anyway. The other one will be Lendl and Connors.
There's Colette Everett with the red glasses turning back to talk to one of her other daughters, Jeannie, and there's Jimmy.
Is Jeannie still playing any tennis?
She teaches tennis. She's married to Bram Dubin, who was also in that shot.
She used to be a good player. Probably still is.
Now you hear Chris say, don't do that. It's one of the few lobs she's ever missed.
Evert Lloyd, Women's International Tennis Association president for a record 5 times, including 86, 87.
Well, you saw what the wind can do. That ball just stopped. And Hana had no play on it. Well, that's a little frustrating.
Hana beat Chris, one of the 6 times she's beaten her, semi-final of Wimbledon last year.
Thought that was out.
Watch it.
Take a look. Hana, ooh, a little bit of a missed it on the overhead. That looked close. Maybe Fred could tell us. He was right down there.
I agree with the chair umpire there, Billie Jean. It's too close for me to overrule or call from here.
Yeah, on the replay, honestly, it looked like it was right on the line. It's deuce.
Advantage Evert Lloyd.
Serve break, of course. Wind is a factor. We mentioned that going in. Ball toss from Mandlikova is a little higher than... She's lost her serve once. Let's see if it continues to affect her.
Lipton Players Championship being telecast right throughout the world. They have some crews from France, from Germany, and of course it's going down under to Australia. Mike Williams, our producer, who's normally with us, and David Ritter, our sound engineer. Miss you here, but believe me, Mary's doing a great job for us.
It's all right, Fred. You can talk to the folks in Australia anytime. On my time. We welcome them, of course. Telecast this weekend, by the way, going to a whole slew of countries. I don't even start to tell you how many. I've got a list here, including West Germany, the United Kingdom, 30 countries and then some. How about the Dominican Republic? They're getting them. And why not? This championship was blessed by as good a field as any Grand Slam championship has enjoyed in the last couple of years.
Billie Jean, Chrissy is basically keeping her attack to Hana's backhand. I think she feels that she can at least get into the match that way. It doesn't have the explosiveness of the Mandlikova forehand.
That's exactly right. We're talking, and she feels at least she has an idea where that backhand is going, and that most of the time, if she can keep it deep to Hana's backhand, Hana's going to just hit that chip defensive backhand, and she'll wait to either give it a good pop off the ground or get to net. She's been to net 3 times and won every one. So I wonder if she's aware of that.
I want to pursue that line of thought with both of you, actually. I think her forehand is, I'm talking about Mandlikova now, a little wristy, so very unpredictable. She can hit it well, but she also makes a lot of errors off that side, Billie Jean. I think if I was coaching somebody who was playing against her, I would tend to go into that forehand side, stay back, let her go for the winners and make the errors.
I disagree, actually. I think that you should hit most of them to Hana's backhand and play her forehand occasionally. But if you keep hitting to Hana's forehand, she has a chance to get it grooved.
I accept that. Where are you on this deal, Fred?
Well, I'm always against you. Where would you think I'd be?
See, Fred coached me a lot, too. So, I learned from him.
This is deuce. Oh, yeah.
Hana's 7 for 15 at net, so she's a little bit under the 50% mark. I think it's important that she chip down the middle to Chris's forehand if she goes in. Actually, you do similarly to Chris as you would to Jimmy Connors.
Second serve break point for a second break for Evert Lloyd.
On that second serve, Chris, instead of moving into that one, stepped back 2 paces, and she hit that second serve, which was a short second serve, maybe about 2 meters behind the baseline, 6-7 feet behind the baseline.
Actually, what Chris will do is move in, but then after she sees where the ball's going at, she will move back a couple of steps to get set. It's interesting. I used to watch her and say, look what she does, and she is so great. That's why I can't hit those ground strokes like that. I try to go forward.
Oh, don't tell me the wind isn't a factor. She's been composed so far anyway, Mandlikova. She's showing no signs of being disgruntled with the wind, and if she doesn't like the ball toss, she'll be inclined to catch it, both of which are good ideas, but she's in trouble. Another break point. like an overall on that one, Fred. How did it look to you?
It looked pretty good. Very close one again, but
Well, you saw it. Looked right dab on it. Chris is trying to keep a stiff upper lip.
Yeah, but she lets you know when she disagrees with it in her subtle way, doesn't she?
Oh, she does. Generally, her nose flares and her lips come tightly together. She's just more subtle than most players.
Yeah, but they get the message. Deuce, 3-1, Evert Lloyd, first set.
Advantage Evert Lloyd.
You saw Jimmy, he's watching Billie Jean. He worked with her originally when she was younger, Chris Evert. Now she has taken up with Dennis Ralston. How much time does he spend with her?
As soon as he's, of course, coaching at SMU, so she has to wait for him to get finished with the men's team there.
And he'll go to Wimbledon, for example.
Right, and the French. There's Jimmy Evert, Holiday Park. I've gone out there and watched him teach. I watched him teach Claire when she was 5 years old, which is the younger sister, who is now, I think, 18. Don't quote me. There's another double fault. That's the second one. Twice in this game, and coming at very crucial times. Both times at deuce.
Claire's 19, Billie Jean, and she's at SMU, where Dennis Ralston is in rooms with my daughter Nadine.
Well,
so
there it
they're
is.
having a good time together.
This is a really crucial time for both players. For Hana to stay in this set. Hana having trouble with that slice backhand to Chris's forehand. It's the right one to hit, but she's been hitting it wide in the net. It's all over the place, and I'm sure because of the conditions being so windy, it's making it very difficult. Well, I think Hana did well on that one, Cliff, just to even make contact with the ball.
Thinking exactly the same thing. Watch this lob was perfectly played. Now Hannah's got to back up a little bit on this one, and that's not an easy swing to make because the ball was being blown away from her.
That is probably the most difficult. 6 deuce. Chris saying to herself, finally I got one.
Said it earlier today that Chris Evert Lloyd gauges the wind, and Billie Jean's mentioned earlier in the week she's lived down here in Florida, knows and uses the wind to perfection, as she did right there.
See, this is where Hana's changed through the years. A few years ago, this game would have been over, and it would have been Chris's. She hangs in much better than she used to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you heard Chris say yes. It's the first ace from Hana in a very good time, because that's where the 2 double faults had come earlier on that deuce, that forehand court.
Play from Mandlikova, 3-2, and she held on for dear life. She's still in this first set.
Hana Mandlikova's forehand. There you see her facing the net. starting to turn. Look at that early preparation. Look how high it is. And at point of contact, square to the ball, starting to open up at the face and following through and jumping as she follows through. Very powerful shot. Quite risky.
You know, you have to have perfect balance to be in the air when you make your swing and hit the ball like these players, or a lot of them anyway, or when they hit the ball on serve, for example.
Mandlikova hanging in the last game as we see Betty Stover there. I think that's kept us certainly in this set. And a very important game here for Evert Lloyd.
A few more gray hairs for Betty. For Dutch shoes, that's what we used to call her. Still do once in a while.
Well, you know how after a match you've been in the press room, they say the important game for you, if you didn't know it yourself, was that long game in the first set at 3-1 when you served and you had chances to break. They're talking to Evert Lloyd. You didn't do it, and then everything fell apart. This may be the case. Mandlikova's serve. She was 4 break points down. She held on. Now Chris is in trouble at love 30. Break points.
What a difference a point makes. Could have been 4-1. Now Chris is looking at maybe 3-all.
22 points in that game just 2 games ago when Mandlikova was serving, and that one 4 short points. Chrissy is broken, and Hana has drawn level at 3-all in the first set.
We get all that great information from John Gibbs at Tennis Stat. They help us. They make us look good.
She's not getting any of the close calls, is she?
No, it's unusual. She cannot believe it. She loves that forehand down line. It's kind of a side spin. She starts up high, is kind of down on the ball, and generally a side spin that's what really brings the ball in, makes it drop.
Chris has not won one of the last, 4 for 8 points in a row.
She keeps track of that, too. I can just hear her saying, when are you going to win a point? There's that wind again. Hana has done that quite a few times tonight. It's a smart thing to do. If you're playing in windy conditions and you don't like that toss, don't hit it. Start over.
Mandlikova was a runner-up at Wimbledon in '81, and of course she also lost to Martina last year in '86. She won the US Open in '85. And she won the French Championships in '81.
I think she beat Evert Lloyd in the semis in straight sets, and then it beat Sylvia Hanukkah in the finals.
And she leads. Chris Evert Lloyd at this point, 4-3. We are now back on serve in the first set.
The grips of both players. Hana Mandlikova on your left. She has kind of a